guys, it is Ashley from the Awaken and today we're going to talk about end of the year rituals. It is officially the end of the year, and we're going to talk about end of the year rituals that are powerful, that can help you with manifestation, that can help you end the year on the right foot, and most importantly, what you can do to personally get ready to plan out the new year. So let's get started. Woohoo! So it is almost the end of the year, and by now, if you are into the classic plan, revolutionize, systemize, get into all of the visioning stuff, then you are right here with the right video, because the end of the year is an excellent time to do those exact things, to completely get into a space of reflection, vision, and practical action when it comes to setting up the new year. So let's dive in to my top 3 action tips I would do for my end of the year rituals. So let's break them down step by step. So the first ritual is reflect. The second ritual is vision. And the third ritual is get practical with my quarter goals and habits. So let's dive in. All right. So the first ritual is all about reflection. This is something that I've featured many, many times in, oh gosh, so many things. But the main one is the Awaken Your Aligned Vision workshop. In Awaken Your Aligned Vision workshop, I go heavily into how you can start to reflect over your entire year so that you can start to close out the chapter, do healing work, do forgiveness work, make peace with the past, cut cords, what you need to do to literally make peace with the year and start new and fresh for the next year. So how do we do that? When it comes to reflection, you really want to ask yourself, well, what were the top things I learned this year? What were the top things I wanted to improve that I maybe didn't manifest or I didn't fulfill, but I know that I made progress, but what were the things that I need to make peace with that I didn't fulfill that maybe I can fulfill next year? And then the next question is, what did I ultimately learn? What were the top lessons I learned this entire year? So when it comes to reflection, I think it's really powerful to use December as this energy of pausing, like the sacred pause where it's the end of the year. You can reflect, you can renew, you can hibernate, you can vision, you can dream. I always feel like December holds this beautiful energy of magic and belief and power and vision, and it holds so much possibilities because it's like so many people approach the new year with this energy of like, everything's possible, I can do anything, and we have this mentality of everything's brand new again. And so I think the first ritual when it really comes to the end of the year is reflecting on, what have you learned this year? What were the top lessons? What have you grown through? What have you healed? What have you overcame? Like, what are the top lessons that you've really embodied, let go? What are the things you've healed? What are the things you've grown through? Really allowing yourself to step into that space where you can reflect on that, write on that, get clear on that, do a brain dump on that, and create a sacred space for yourself in terms of really getting clear on, what do I need to do next? Because if I'm not reflective and clear on the previous year, I often find there isn't that sense of closure. Like, I mean, we could go into a place where it's like, oh my God, if I don't reflect, then I'm like not having closure with the new year, but that's silly. But don't come at it from that scarcity mentality, but rather it's like when I'm reflecting, I'm clear on my accomplishments, my goals, my manifestations, my results, everything that I've overcome this entire year. And then I'm entering a space of closure. And from that space of closure, now I can really step into a beautiful place of visioning what I want, visioning what are my top desires of my heart for the next year, visioning what I see in all of the different areas of my life. So in step 2, we have vision. And I recommend visioning like an eagle eye broad scope of what you are shown for the next year. And now I don't think we always need to have like a full year plan, but it's important to approach visioning from the lens of both the masculine and the feminine energy. It's to look at, well, what is the more like non-material goals and what is my material goals? So for example, money versus relationships, or business goals versus self-care goals. And I go into this really deep in Awaken Your Aligned Vision in the workshop. But so when you look at it in this lens of you're taking that eagle eye approach of visioning. And so what I want you to do is just go through all of the areas of your life and ask yourself, what do I desire next in this area? What do I desire next in this area? What do I desire next in this area? And just take some time to go through each area and be like, these are my goals for self-care next year. These are my goals for my spiritual practice next year. These are my goals for my personal growth next year. These are my goals for my business next year. These are my goals for money next year. These are my goals for my relationships next year. And I think just allowing yourself to really let go, really dream, really step into this place of unapologetic desire and allowing yourself to carve out that master vision is so empowering, especially at the end of the year when it holds this energy of infinite possibilities and motivation, and where we have this like energy of next year I'm gonna do things differently. And we have this energy of just possibility, magic, mystery. And it holds so much like, it's this energy of like mystical dreaming. And so for step 2, your end of the year ritual is to step into that visioning space from the energy of like the full eagle eye sculpt. Like, this is what I desire in this area. This is what I desire in this area. And kind of just allowing yourself to create like a mind map of all these different areas and what you see there and what you visualize there. And then to just set some intentions for that, and set some intentions, and you're like, I'm grateful and happy for my self-care. I do this a week, and I do this a week, and I do this. And just start to go deeper into what is the broad scope vision for your next year? What is the broad scope vision for your life? Sometimes I think we can pigeonhole our goals and I'll often do this, like where instead of focusing on like self-care or relationships or any of those things, because like those things are all great already for me, instead I'll just focus on like business goals or project goals. And that can often pigeonhole my personal vision and my personal expansion and my personal evolution and even my alignment. Because when I allow myself to get the broad scope, it allows me to expand in multiple areas just for the fact alone that I am bringing awareness to what I desire to shift and change. So bringing in that broad scope awareness allows you to not be in an energy where you're like, well, if I don't do self-care 3 times a week, then obviously I'm fucking up my manifestation goal. And it's not like that at all. It's more like we're planting seeds. It's like, it's like we're blowing out the dandelion and all the seeds are flying into the air. And the vision is just like we're allowing all of those seeds to just sit there and lay in the ground. And we're planting them in so that they will cast nets of surprise and wonder. And because here's the thing is I've noticed that sometimes I don't need to pigeonhole my goals. I just need to be intentional. Like, I know I'm going to do this number of bubble baths or whatever. And, or I'm going to like, I know I'm going to have more smoothies and a better diet next year. And then I'll just gradually notice that I'll start to have these little mental shifts that will start to plant those seeds of thought to change things. So don't go into visioning and intentioning setting when it's in this energy of like, I have to do this or else. And instead see it as you're stepping into the dreaming, into the magic, into the mystery of I'm planting new seeds, I'm building a vision, I'm carving out a vision, and getting into that space of I'm literally just letting go and allowing myself to be unapologetic with my desires. Because ultimately, that's one of the most powerful places to be. Now, finally, the third ritual is I also invite you to get practical. Because I do believe that no matter what you're trying to go after, you also need goals. And like, you do need goals from an energy of what are you physically going to change and shift? One of the hugest things that's really shifted a ton for me was understanding how to change my habits and learning to create quarter size goals. This is one of the hugest things that has shifted my business. It's shifted the way I do exercise. It's shifted my self-care routine. And it all starts with just getting that practical edge. So it's like the first two rituals are very mental, very more emotional and energetic. And then in the third ritual, we get practical. And that's not to say that we're starting to get things on a to-do list. No, we're just stepping into that planning energy. We're stepping into planning our year. Now, here's the thing though. I don't want you to go into this and be like, I have to plan my entire year. No, we're not doing it like that. Instead, you're just doing it by quarter. So one of the hugest lessons I've learned, and this is coming from procrastinator, overachiever, overthinker here, I function so much easier when I just plan a quarter with bullet point visions of what I want versus trying to create this huge vision. Because it doesn't, no matter what, you cannot plan the step-by-step actions. That's not how manifestation works. That's not how life works. You're thrown into the crossfire. You will be revealed more on the pathway. The vision will reveal itself on the pathway. You don't need to have everything figured out in supreme clarity and absolute full-on clarity before you can even make a move. However, it's really fun and really important to, at the very minimal, create those bullet point quarter goals so that you have something to aim at. So it's like when I started creating the book, I started setting quarter goals for completing that book. Now that's the practical lens. However, I worked through all of the emotional and the mental and the energetic side of that too. But having that practical approach of this is my goal, this is my deadline, this is my measurable goal, these are all really important too. So when it comes to end of the year rituals, I also invite you to look at what are the practical habits I can change? What are the practical shifts I can start to make? And most importantly, what are my quarter goals for the particular areas that I'm desiring change? So for example, really easy one is, changing your exercise routine. So if you have goals for changing your exercise routine, what are the habits that would help you create that change? What are the routines that you would shift? And ultimately, what is the practical goals you can make that are measurable, that are easy to make, and most importantly, the deadlines you can set for yourself. So I do believe in the power of SMART goals, measurable, deadlines, getting clear, because all of these things help the process. They help the process from a practical lens of actually getting results. So it's like we could vision and do mindset work all day, but at the end of the day, it's also important to set your aim and plan, because at the end of the day, planning is also visioning work, because you're planting the seeds of how you are planning your quarter. So what I recommend is doing a quarter vision. So this is really easy. All you have to do is look at, well, what are the habits I want to shift in this particular quarter? So obviously that would be quarter one. So for the end of the year ritual, you would start to look at, these are the habits I want to change in quarter one. And don't go crazy, only do like 3. Like, don't go crazy, because your brain will like, you don't want to like trip out your nervous system. You just want to like, these are the 3 habits I'm going to change. And then you're going to look at, these are the 3 goals I'm going after in quarter one. And now when you do that, you're not focused on 70 different things. You're instead just focused on those 3 goals. And then you're focused on those 3 habits. And then you're going to build from those 3 goals. And then you're going to build from those 3 habits. So for instance, you break down each of those goals, and then you ask yourself, well, what would be required to fulfill this goal? What do I need to do we're not doing anything. We're just setting up the vision. Okay. So it's like, what would I need to do for that goal to be complete? What would I need to do? What would I need to start to do? And so what this does is it just kind of gets your brain kind of motivated with ideas. And from there, then you will be magnetically pulled and led to what you need to do. Now, from that lens, we're working with reflection, we're working with visioning, and then we're working with practical. So we're working with, how can we create that mind-body connection to create it into a habit, to create it sustainably into something we can grasp. And what I've found is when you do it in this particular way, you get way more solid results, because you're not working from an energy of, I'm just visioning and daydreaming and hoping it happens. And you're not also just talking out of your ass, because you're actually getting practical and real with yourself. And then the third thing is, the more that you get clear on getting specific with measurement and dates and time commitments, or I'm going to do this habit on this day, or I'm going to do this on this, like, you start creating more of a solidity that makes it more real. And I talked about this in the Mind Body Revolution experiment, but when we create something to make it more real, it feels more real to our subconscious, and our subconscious begins to latch on to that. Whereas, like, as I mentioned, I had a goal to do 7 days of Pilates every single week, when I haven't done Pilates in like 3 or 4 months. And then I'm just like, practically, that's not going to work for me. Because 1, my muscles will be sore. 2, that's way too many days in a row. 3, I never get a break. 4, there's no recovery day. And 5, I'm like so out of practice. So that's not realistic, and you'll set yourself up to fail. Whereas if I say I'm going to do Pilates 2 times a week, and then bump it up to 3 times a week, and then bump it up to 4 times a week, then it's more practical. It's more real. I'm giving myself a date. I'm giving myself a commitment. I'm giving myself practicality. That practicality edge can really set you up for success. And that's why I think it's important to emphasize that we can't just all sit on our couch and wait for magic and miracles to happen. At the same time, we should be choosing our intentions. We should be setting up a vision, giving ourselves a broad scope vision. And most importantly, we should also be looking at our habits and what we can change in our habits to create sustainable results. Okay, oh my gosh, that was really fun. So I hope you enjoy these end of the year rituals. If you are interested in Awaken Your Aligned Vision, which it goes over a little bit of the process that I just took you through, but way more in depth, that is also in the holiday gift guide. I decided to release it just in case anyone is eager and ready to start their new year. It will be launching probably in January or February at full cost. So this is an amazing time to get in if you are rearing up and excited for the new year. All right, I think that is everything. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday season. This is the final video of the year, and I am so grateful that you guys have subscribed to our channel. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, so woohoo! And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the new year.